Thank you for joining me for our second installment in the Time Bubble interview series. I am your host, EJ Borkhardt. For those unfamiliar with the show, this is a segment that is going to appear each Saturday on my blog, where I will pick a character from this past week's chapter to interview. I'm going to be pulling these characters from a specific part of the story to talk with them about what they are thinking and feeling about during what is going on in the story. Don't worry, they won't remember any of this ever happening, so this won't have any effect on the story. They will be returned to the very moment I borrowed them from, so their absence won't be noticed. This week, I asked Alfred Godard to join me and give me a little more clarity about what he does. Thank you for joining me today, Alfred.
Thank you for inviting me, though inviting might be a bit of an overstatement for how you got me here.
Yes, well, I think that stepping into your story and inviting you here would have had a negative impact on your world. I didn't think you would object to assisting me with something designed for educational purposes.
I have no complaints, though your methods might prove to be a bit troublesome in the future. I would love to get a look at the technology that you used to bring me here. My world has nothing like it.
Perhaps at a later time. I asked you to join me today hoping to get a little more of an in-depth description of what your theory is.
Ah, of course. I have synthesized a formula that allows molecular bonds to form between organic and inorganic materials. I propose that methods exist to use this formula to safely improve upon the human condition, but at this juncture, I have yet to determine any practical uses for such a process. But I have hope that someone will someday. Perhaps even my own boys.
Of course, I understand now. However, do you think you could put it into more of a layman's terms for those who are listening at home?
Of course, my mistake. I'm afraid that I'm more used to giving these explanations to a room full of scientists. I'll try to explain it more like I would to my wife. When I was in college, I discovered a formula that will allow me to join organic matter, in other words, living tissue, with inorganic matter, or substances like metal or rock. I know that there must be ways to use my formula to help improve the lives of others, but I haven't found any at this point. I do hope that others might be able to find a solution that I'm looking for.
Thank you, that was much clearer. Out of curiosity, is your formula only capable of joining inorganic matter to organic, or could it be used to join organic matter to organic matter as well?
It is very possible, but also very difficult. I proposed using my formula to help reattach lost limbs onto others in an effort to speed up the healing process.
That is wonderful! Is that a commonly used practice in your world now?
No, I'm afraid that it is still being researched. There is a difference between being able to attach something and having it function properly. In order for it to be effective for more than purely cosmetic purposes, we would have to make sure that everything lined up perfectly between the limb and body. And that includes veins and bones and nerve endings. We've had successful trials, but they are rare and very expensive.
That is a tragedy. You had mentioned previously that you thought that perhaps your children would be able to find a method for using your formula. How can you be so confident in their abilities at such a young age?
Clearly you don't know my boys as well as I do. They already have a better understanding of my theory than most of the scientists I've met, and they're still in grade school. I know that the members of my family have always had extraordinary intelligence from a young age, but these two are something else entirely. Once they are done, this world will be improved so much that it will be unrecognizable.
Those are some lofty expectations that you have for your boys. I certainly hope that they can live up to them, and that I'll be able to see and write about the amazing things that they achieve. I'm afraid that we have run out of time for this week. I wanted to thank you for joining me today, Alfred.
It has been a pleasure.
Thank you all for joining me today. I hope that today's interview has helped you with your understanding of the world of the Godard brothers, and that you will come back next week for our interview with someone from the Rebellion in Akwar. Look for more Time Bubble interviews to come in the future, and if you have a character that you would like me to interview from next week's chapter, leave it in a comment down below. Alfred, if you would please follow these fine gentlemen, they will help make sure you get back to your story.
The Time Bubble interviews have been brought to you by and paid for by Godard Labs.